would shock all of us. An upset victories here and there, and they'd tell us, stop looking down on us. We're a team and we're here to play. And then they'd come out next week and they'd absolutely just not play well at all. So I'm excited to see, what Kilo, what Quartz can bring to the table, because I can't wait to see this team get a little bit more consistent. That's a point we brought up, or the analyst desk brought up, very, very smartly so. And the question is, can Aqualix bring that same consistency, or is this yet again going to be kind of this up and down roster that also struggles to gain a lot of our confidence? We'll have to find out, and Chalet will be a perfect battleground to test the waters. We're not going to see any crazy bans so far. The Nomad, the Thatcher off the board, Mira to follow, and I guess that reasonably leaves, the Valkyrie. We haven't seen her banned yet today, which has been quite surprising considering she is extremely powerful on every single map you can bring her to, especially on Chalet, a map that is very, very aggressive and extremely important to have that intel as a defensive team, figure out where the attackers are approaching from. Good to see her out of the play here. Maybe we'll get some more interesting defensive lineups.
Yeah, the Valkyries too, on Chalet rather than Oregon, there's a lot more, I feel C4 potential on Chalet. So, instead of a Valkyrie, we will have an Echo from Quartz. He is relegated to not necessarily the hard support role, because, things on the defense are a hell of a lot more flexible than they are on the attack, but most experienced player on the roster will pick up the info operator, and he's playing with not only Echo Shotgun, Echo Suppressed Shotgun. That's a little bit odd, but whatever. We've also got Swaylin. I would like to highlight Swaylin real quick. Now, he initially started on this team as an Ashe player. He was the first entry. He was in front of Mikey, and he was very inconsistent. In Stage 2, he got switched to Flank Watch, and he played a lot of Lion, and my god, was he good. Not only as the Lion, but he would also play, sometimes Smoke on the defense. Sometimes he would be able to, let loose with the Jaeger, but he was always very, very consistent. So not only do I think, one shot, they have Slip, who was incredible last stage, Storms, who's incredible last stage. All the pieces that they still have were probably the three best. So I'm going to be, while Kilo and Quartz, this is their first game into the new squad, I'm not necessarily expecting them to play lights out. I'm looking towards the other three to see if they can keep that consistency from last stage.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's going to be pretty important, and I suppose you're right. I mean, it doesn't matter if Kilo and Quartz can show up if the rest of the team kind of falls behind. And interestingly enough, of course, Quartz, you mentioned, is on that supporting role, which even puts more stock into the fact that we need these other players on one shot to step up and play very consistently. But starting things off for Aqualix, we've got Afer playing the Buck from below and going for a multi-floor renovation here. This is something we haven't seen for a while. He's going to come all the way from the big garage, go up through 2 of those floors to get quick line of sight onto those power positions in the master bedroom. That's going to do a little bit of damage to Storms. Nothing crazy, as he will relocate, but that does limit where One Shot can actually play on the site itself, and potentially gives Aqualix a little bit more flexibility as what looks like their solar take continues.
Fortunately, the Zero not able to get too much info off of his cams. They're just quickly shot out as soon as he's shooting them, thanks to Storms. Storms might even be able to C4 this player on the window, but he's flushed up by a nade as well as a concussion, but he's still able to get away and tuck himself back in the closet, avoiding the angles being held from both bathroom, big window, and solar. Something else interesting too is we saw Swaylin actually running the Hollow instead of the 1.5, but the Hollow is going to do work for CZ. Or sorry, not CZ. I thought he'd have that kill. It's actually a Claymore to find Slippery, and Storms will refrag onto CZ. So it ends up being a 1-for-1. You lose nades, which is pretty important, but you do find Storms. Now it's a one-man advantage for Aqualix. Moving to the last minute, and they have this solar control now. England is just going to start going for the plant. Where's the denial? Where's the Echo? They've got no idea it's going down. He'll finally be able to deny just in the nick of time. England will not be able to get the plant down, but there's still 45 seconds left, and England's just going to try again.
Well, the coverage on the window is there, and that's going to prevent Kilo from being much of anything. Exactly. Rethinkin is here to lock down that angle. There's a triple kill for Rethinkin, as Quartz is the next victim, and Afer on the same angle will go for a swing and will claim the final kill. A textbook take from Aqualix, pummeling their way in from that solar side. Doing so much to the rather unawareness of One Shot, they nearly let the plant go down, but despite stopping the first attempt, they could not make up the ground in time because Aqualix had already put themselves in a perfect position to get that plant down and simply denied any rotation back to site.
Yeah, wonderfully played by Aqualix, especially again that flank watch from Rethinking. We know how crucial that big window position is. It completely cuts the site in half. So, one shot that round did not look great. While they did hold on for a decent amount of time, Aqualix really couldn't get things going until about 50 seconds left. But once that 50-second mark hit, I mean, Aqualix did what they do best. And they just barrel in. They win their fights. And the cover on the plant was immaculate from both Rethinking and I believe, who's the other player covering? I think Gasher, with Afer, posted up on the bathroom window. In fact, Rethinking and Afer got all 5 kills that round. So, One Shot are immediately going to switch. They're going to go to Kitchen Dining. And what do we see from Kitchen Dining? We always see pretty much the exact same thing. Head holes opened up in the entire length of the kitchen to dining wall right there with the rotate open. It'll be opened up in the connector wall, behind plant half wall, in trophy as well. And you place a lot of stock in your top floor hole. The longer you can waste up here, the harder it is for the attackers to transition from the clear to the execute, especially with just the ace to work off of. Because you'll have to waste hard breach not only to open the bunker wall upstairs, but also the dining wall downstairs. And, normally we see teams bring a thermite for that. The ace, you're going to have a lot less, not necessarily less flexibility, but the hole's not going to be as big.
Right, and we'll see this focus from One Shot. We see a lot of this utility going to this top floor yet again, because like any site that occurs on the second, or rather ground floor, the top floor is usually an essential component of holding this one down, especially here on Chalet, where if you can secure this top floor control, you can take out every defender. You can deal with every possible plant position as well. There is so much you can get done by holding this top floor. That's exactly why we can see One Shot holding that down, and why we can see Aqualix beginning to pressure that. Afer, using the same buck strategy from Big Garage, will pressure all the way to that top floor, forcing some defenders to move around, and once again allowing CZ to take up this position on the Solarium window. He'll be able to get a couple of bullets landing onto Storms, but nothing fatal, as the Mute will once again continue to bounce around the site and try to find a safe haven to hold down this extension. He'll do that, but he'll find himself holding a shotgun in hand, and I don't even know what just happened. But regardless, Storms comes out on top. Whether that was lag or a bunch of missed shots, I'm not entirely sure, but a shotgun will find 2 attackers straight in the body, and a 3-man advantage, now 4, is in the hands of One Shot.
I have no idea what the hell happened there. Did they just not drone that or something, or what? So, Slip got the leadoff pick, right?
Yeah.
As Aqualix started to swing into Solar. Storms completely whiffed on CZ. Like, that was not pretty. And CZ just didn't react. I don't know if he didn't... I don't know if somehow he just didn't know where he was getting shot from, which means he's pretty oblivious. Or what. But Storms was able to whip out the secondary, and then after CZ died, where was the comm? Because Gasher was just pre-firing into Master with no idea that there was a guy in his steps. And as England aces open but the wall in the castle barricade, he's going to be put out of his misery by Quartz. That was... yeah, that was a round.
A bizarre one, to say the least. Top floor clear, at least that was Aqualix's intent, but it was quickly dismantled by a couple of pretty amateurish mistakes. A lack of understanding of where the Mute could have been positioned, and Storms was more than happy to take advantage, although he may have missed an entire mag with the SMG-11. He's got a shotgun as well, and that was more than enough to do the job. So both teams are going to want to shake off that mess of the last round in some capacity. Most of the players on the site for one shot, they didn't even see attackers until the end of the round, where England ended up wandering in and finding his grave eventually. But for the most part, it was rather easy for one shot to just sit back and let those top floor players do the rest of the work. Because for now, they are once again going to be changing something up. They're going to head to Bar and Games here, another pretty typical site on this map. But for a moment, we did see Storms heading down below towards Snowmobile Garage, and I wonder if he was attempting any sort of hold down there. But for now, it seems like he'll rotate right back up and not really bother.
10 seconds to go.
And One Shot are keeping Aqualix on their toes when it comes to the site selection. Of course, when it comes to Bar, utility is very, very important. 2 shields on the board, along with the Wamai and the Jaeger. Appears that they're not running the Aruni, but I guess they figure, 2 out of the 3 is going to be enough. And Aqualix, they have enough utility. They only have, 1 set of nades, but they do have 3 Gons and plenty of clear. So they've got more than enough utility to deal with this. It's just whether or not they play with it correctly. And they'll start from a library side. CZ droning in. He'll spot one. Gasher nearly catches the rotated the player by the Ivy window, but unfortunately does not shoot in time, as Afer is upside down repelled, watching through the library big window. So Aqualix, instead of taking from solar side, which is what we are traditionally used to seeing on this site, are going library instead, which I have to say, I think is a little bit tougher.
But it's the Aqualix way, right? It's a direct way straight into the open arms of the defenders, and that's kind of where Aqualix tends to thrive. They're not going to worry about clearing the whole top floor. They want to take these fights early, and they want to go for it right away. And so far, it's paying off. CZ in a perfectly tossed nade will shut down Swalen, so one of those library players has been dealt with. But not only does someone still remain on that top floor, but there is support from downstairs to be wary of. Kilo will make his position known as he shoots out the Gemini clone from CZ. But now, as he once again strafes into his line of sight, looks like he'll remain untouched for now. England will have now rotated downstairs straight to games to potentially attempt just a direct run in an early plant, because once library control is secured, I mean, that top floor pressure could theoretically be enough to secure that plant. Unfortunately for Aqualix, that's not going to be allowed, as Storms will re-aggress, go for that peak, and claim another kill. Thankfully, at least for them, the second time he'll get punished, and Slippery has a quick answer, though, as Gasher is shut down.
He's also still upstairs by blue, and the only person contesting him is Afer on just 1 HP, so One Shot still have a pretty firm advantage, especially as England goes down from above, finished from below by Quartz. Afer gets caught with the skeleton key out, and Rethinking is left in a 1 versus 2. Case dropped upstairs in library under the watchful eye of Slippery. You now know exactly where he is thanks to that Banshee, and there's Slip once again to kill him from above. A beautiful retake of the upstairs from the defense, making sure that Aqualix can't make any headway.
I like the initial attempt from Aqualix. I made that known during the round. They definitely know how to play their game. It's an aggressive game. It is a game that doesn't involve avoiding gunfights, rather taking them head on. And that's what that library push was all about. Unfortunately, they never really got the job done in library. They got the bare minimum to have some sort of idea that, oh, maybe we have control of this position, but they never took care of Storms on the top of main stairs, holding down Fireplace Hall from that top balcony. They never took care of those players in supply room, keeping a watchful eye on games the entire time. And what both of those things meant is their overall goal, or at least what seemed of their goal, as a just direct push in and an early plant, simply wasn't possible. They didn't fully complete that clear, which meant they couldn't be fully comfortable about that top-down position, and they couldn't be fully comfortable about anyone swinging out from supply, holding that wall in between Bar and Games and contesting them from there. They got some steps done, but simply not enough. And that's what cost them in the end. They just have to flesh that out a little bit further. I don't mind if you go for that library take. I don't need you to clear from Solarium every single time, but there were a couple steps that they missed that could easily remedy for next time.
Attacker's objective is to locate
Yeah, honestly, the issues from One Shot on this site were not irreparable. You've also got Sway all the way on the library side of things once again, but it will probably be nullified by the solar take from Aqualix. And they love their solar takes. Solar takes are... there are a couple teams who don't push solar, but I would say I think across the entirety of Siege Esports, solar takes are probably preferred because they're rather minimal and you gain a lot of control for not really a lot of effort. There's not a lot... How do I explain this? There's not a lot of control you need to take comparative to the control you gain. I don't know if that makes sense. Also, thank God we don't see the enemy detected outside. No, I forgot we do see that. That's going to be annoying because that alibi is just on the helicopter pad.
That's the whole point of Alibi, really. I mean, how good is that gadget other than to put a glaring red alert on your opponent's screen? I don't know. It's something I always like to highlight is the Alibi gadget, as you all know at this point. But for now, it's not the Alibi to make an impact. Court's on the Echo once again, staying committed to the supporting role, but he'll be the one fragging out for now in this round. He'll take down Afer and Kilo quick behind both of these new pickups, really paying dividends so far in round number 4. CZ the next to fall, leaving 3 players from Aqualix to now fight against 5. 2 of which are now pressuring from Solarium. Rethinking, who's now taking up this pretty typical position on that big window. You've got the positions you need, but do you have the manpower? England will now try to open this wall, eventually having landed that Selma charge, who will get to do at least some of that job. But there's still a lot to get done, and there's 5 players standing in your way. Gasher's hoping to get some foothold, maybe of Bathroom, or at least some understanding of where these final few defenders are positioned. But Storms, he's not going to allow it. He'll see England go prone on the breach, shut him down quickly. He'll go for another wide swing, and even though Gasher can hold left click until the end of his life, he will not be able to stop a shotgun. Oh, well, I guess I spoke too soon. The shotgun just going to graze his shoulder. Gasher will win that fight, and now they'll push into the objective, hoping to get this plant down.
The plant spot is pretty covered from peaks, but there is an Echo drone watching it, and as Gasher comes off the plant, Kilo finishes him off. Rethinking gets the trade, but there's an immediately responded to by Swalen. I flubbed my words there. And Aqualix, again, attempting to take in Solar, really punished by some of the downstairs play from One Shot, especially early on. I don't remember who Kilo killed, but he got a kill down there. The push into Solar not working out the best as well. England, I'm not sure why he was just kind of crouch walking through the breach without looking at Closet, because there was someone playing Closet last time they tried to attack this site. It's a pretty default position, especially when you know they're doing a Solar take. That was a little bit odd. But from there, One Shot just really had every advantage, especially towards the end. I mean, even if Aqualix started fragging, I mean, the Echo drones were still up. As long as Quartz didn't die, things would be A-okay. It's now a 3-1 defensive lead for One Shot. And Chalet is typically considered a pretty damn attacker-sided map. This is not looking great for Aqualix so far, unless they're able to recover these last 2.
Yeah, I'm a bit surprised this took a turn so quickly. I mean, Aqualix opened things up. First round seemed pretty clear who was on top, at least to start. But since then, it has been... I'm not going to say mistake after mistake, but close to it, right? Round number 2, that was the big disaster round for Aqualix. They had a couple of misdrone issues, a couple of misconceptions about where some defenders were playing, and maybe that was enough to kind of put them into this downward spiral. They really haven't been able to get it back since, and I'm kind of just waiting to see that Aqualix aggression that we saw just a few rounds ago in round number 1. I wonder where that has gone. Now, we can see that One Shot are going to go back to Kitchen and Dining. This site, I'd argue, has the most unexplored territory for Aqualix because this was where the big error occurred. They just have to clear this top floor. They just have to get this top-down clear a little bit more in order. Or at least maybe go for a different sort of take, because as we can see, Storm's holding Solarium. This was the big problem last time.
Pretty funny problem, too, with the way that ended up working out. So, Storms, luckily enough, is not on the solar stairs, so we're not going to see whatever the hell happened last time. And Kilo is going to take an aggressive peek, end up dying and rethinking, just swinging around the big window, is able to get 2. Huge play by the Zero of rethinking. And, well, top floor hold no longer really there. And the Echo, wow, Gasher. The Echo and the Smoke quite literally lined up for the Zoe, and Gasher did not click in time. So he just kind of missed out on 2 more kills and a guaranteed round win. But, you know, they're still in the man advantage, so no harm, no foul necessarily.
Yeah, the mess in this round isn't from Aqualix. It's more from One Shot. 2 opening picks that really could have gone a different direction, but thankfully you've got Swalen, who hits a nasty shot onto Afer, but you lose Quartz right behind. CZ finishing that off with a Gone 6. Swalen, however, will pick out another answer, and Slippery is still in this fight on the top floor. CZ, seemingly had no idea of Slippery's position, will fall victim to yet another aggressive peek from One Shot. It's Swalen's turn to swing into the action. He's eager to take this fight with Gasher, who has backed off a little bit up the Solarium stairs and is joining England in an effort to play a little bit more patient. Now that they've spotted out the position of at least one of these defenders down below, they're going to be looking to play the vertical and actually get fragging. But Swalen has repositioned. He's touched close and trophy with a shotgun, and that's a triple kill for him. The destruction up above is not going to do much because Gasher didn't quite get on the angle in time, and now, all alone, Gasher needs to recover this diffuser and fight against 2, all while being constantly pinged. Slippery knows his exact position. He can go for the pre-fire, and Swalen, with a close shotgun, gets a quad kill on a kitchen and dining defense, pulling out One Shot from a tremendous disadvantage and giving them the round.
Was that a 2v5?
I think so.
Or I think
definitely
Swalen.
a 2v4.
I think Swalen got 1 or 2 kills before Quartz died. But still, extremely impressive from One Shot to be able to claw that back from a 3v5, possibly 2v4 or whatever. And Aqualix really dropping the ball there. I mean, after having such a fantastic entry from Rethinking on the windows, if Gasher had just hit his shots, that would have never happened. Gasher, I love you, but my God. The Echo and the Smoke literally gave themselves to you on a silver platter. So that's super unfortunate. Also, Swalen was hit that nasty shot through the floor, too. The Aruni was still being uncontested upstairs. I don't know if maybe there was just improper flank watch for Aqualix, but either way, One Shot that round, not only were they hitting their shots, but their positioning, Swalen's positioning especially, was just on point. Fantastic stuff from him. Like I said, he was so consistent last season. That's what we're looking for right now in this match. And he was 1 and 2 before that point, but he stepped up where it mattered. And now it's back on the bar. Aqualix have not won a single attack since round number 1. And I am going to be... I mean, I'm already really worried, but I'm going to be even more worried than I am now if they lose this round and it goes 5-1.
This is, after all, generally considered an attacker-sided map, so you don't want to be on a 4-2 or definitely not a 5-1 receiving end if you are Aqualix right now. Thankfully, you've got one chance to remedy some of your mistakes and at the same time regain some of that momentum. You can go into the defensive half maybe with a little bit of an edge, enough of an edge at least to stop One Shot in their tracks when they switch over to the attacking side. Who knows? I mean, we saw an attacker-sided Oregon tonight, but we also just saw Afer get deleted. Swalen with a beautiful shot, the MX4 Storm, and that 1.5 doing wonders for him right now as he claims his 6th kill so far and ties Slippery at that top frag spot for One Shot.
Smoked. And another one for Swalen. On to England. 2 kills for the Alibi. He now overtakes his teammate and ties with Rethinkin on the other side of the board. There's a whole minute 45 for Aqualix to play with, but they're in a 2-man deficit. Storms is continuing to throw out magnets. The Jaeger, ADSs are still on the board. They have not been able to clear these shields, and they haven't been able to clear Sway. His shield is gone, but he's opted to stay here. He's not afraid. He's not afraid to take peeks without that extra metal coverage in front of him. Looks like Aqualix are happy to just stop contesting Library. They figure they'll just cut their losses and turn their attentions to the site. But Kilo is still holding onto the window from the doorway. You still got someone in bar stock. Rethinking does get the kill on a Storm, so your top blue player is somehow dead as he, I think, just walked in through coat check. Now they know where that 0 is. Slip and Kilo are going to hold a crossfire on it as Kilo tries to retake up blue and play with that shield. Gasher will finally rejoin his team as we're now sub 1 minute. But as CZ takes the peak, he'll be shut down by Kilo. Swaylin is now watching the hatch, watching the jump into sight. And this round is going to be tough for Aqualix.
Yeah, 40 seconds to work with is not bad if you had utility and the man count on your side, but you've got to fight against 4 people, and you simply do not have any of the map control that you need. Gasher is going to be jumping into this position completely blind, and he's got 2 angles to worry about, one of which is the top floor, and that's already going to be lighting him up. The second, that's Courts, will be quickly felled by Rethinkin, so maybe a little bit of that edge can be found back. Gasher, after all, is just in the middle of the site, waiting through that Banshee, but he's going to walk right on in to their open arms. I'm not exactly sure why he didn't want to stay over there in games, but either way, it was an impossible position to hold and would have taken a miracle anyway, but no miracle could be found for Aqualix as they do, in fact, go down 5-1 on their Chalet attacking half. A lot of ground to make up.
Yeah, that is, not good. That is pretty atrocious. Abysmal, one might say. I mean, Aqualix did not look good. I mean, in that last round too, with Swaylin just destroying everybody. That was a catastrophic start to this map. And, well, on Chalet, probably the most attacker-sided map in the pool, One Shot only need to win 2 rounds. They're going to be bringing the Flores now to deal with any shield play. Of course, there is only going to be 1 from Aqualix, so the Flores might not be as important as we're used to seeing, especially because they're dropping a Buck/Sledge slash second entry for it in order to bring both the Flores and the Lion, as well as double hard breach. A lot being put into the quote-unquote, support side of things right now for One Shot. But I mean, all of these guys can frag. It doesn't matter what operator they're on.
10 seconds to go.
Well, One Shot, I guess now the onus is on them to show us what they can do on the attack, but they do have a 5-1 advantage after all, so really I'd still argue Aqualix have to put on a show after their attacking prowess was essentially incorporeal. They're going to need to really pull out something unexpected on the defensive side. You've got this top floor setup, which, as we've seen time and time again, will be designed to support the players, below and above, as Master and Office is the site after all, and you do have some players downstairs to play some vertical, just the other way that we typically expect. And you've got Gasher, who's holding down Library and trying to contest from the other side. Combine that with CZ from below in games, and they're applying pressure, the defensive pressure, just about everywhere and trying to contest One Shot the moment they enter the building. Unfortunately, Gasher is going to get absolutely bullied out of top fireplace. Multiple flash grenades, a Rotero drone, and now a grenade to finish him off, as Kilo is the one to actually claim that kill. But a great opening blow for One Shot. Now Afer is next in their sights. He'll strike first, however, as Slippery is next to fall.
Whoa. Wow, and Courts just wallbanging Afer through the barricade as he attempts his narrow escape. It's a 2-for-1 trade for One Shot, and, well, I'd take those. And another yellow ping. Kilo's got it onto England, and he's just going to shoot him through the barricade up there as well. That leaves just CZ and Rethinkin, the top frag for the team, and CZ, a new pickup who we expected big things from, to clutch up a 2v4 And this is where it's really going to matter. I mean, this could be the most important clutch of the match if these two players get it. But the stuns are coming in. Rethinking hits the deck and is slammed by Storms. It's CZ alone. He'll find one onto Quartz, but in the meantime, the plant has gone down from Sway. And this is going to be tough. 30 seconds to play with 3 bodies to find our Tarot drones coming out as well onto the diffuser to destroy it so they can hold it from below. That could potentially be a smart play from Storms, as CZ now has to battle against the big window player. There's someone playing in Solar as well. He's got pings on them, but still can't win the fight. And one shot, go up 6-1.
Yeah, I don't think One Shot are messing around. They want to finish this one out quickly, and, well, by all indications, that is exactly what's about to happen. It's match point, and Aqualix have yet to show any sort of comeback. They're not even taking a timeout right now. I don't see the clock stopping. I don't see them panicking and saying, hey, listen, can we have a conversation with our team? I wonder if the mental's so chalked they don't even want to talk about it. I mean, they are at a point where they need, I wouldn't say a miracle, but I mean, 5 rounds in a row on Chalet defense after the performance we just witnessed in that first round. Gotta say, it's not looking great, Harrison. They'll try Master and Bedroom Office again? Going back here twice in a row? I don't love that thought process.
Neither do I. I feel like if the round was like a real nail biter and they lost in like a 1v1 or a 2v1, you know, and the plant wasn't down, you know, it was like a really close loss that could have gone either way. Sure, go back to the same site. But it really wasn't. I mean, One Shot were in control of that entire round. It was a 1v4 for CZ at the end post-plant? I don't know, man. This is looking rough for Aqualix. I mean, like you said, they haven't even taken a timeout. Now, granted, England was listed as their coach before he had to step in and sub. But still, those timeouts, man, they can help. You know, let you get a breather, help stump a little bit of the momentum from the other side. Haven't taken it. And again, I think I agree with you. It might just be that the mental is so chalked that they just want to get the game over with.
I mean, honestly, I'm in the same boat. If Aqualix aren't going to, you know, put on something or at least show some sort of changes, I mean, might as well get it over with. At least you're starting things off in round number 8 on a positive note. Gasher will open things up with a kill onto Storms. That's something, but he'll quickly walk into his 6-foot grave as Slippery, with a watchful eye, is close behind. Keeping this one even in a 4v4. Now the drone's pouring Afer's direction to force him back onto the library stairs. And that's going to leave CZ a bit more isolated downstairs just outside of games. And just like that, Swaylin takes advantage. I have no idea how he was able to jump in and win that fight because CZ was holding that angle, but somehow Swaylin does it, and that's a big way to continue the one-shot advantage. Thankfully for Aqualix, you've still got Rethinking behind, and with an SMG-11 in hand, he will respond in kind, keeping this one even.
Bomb located by attackers.
Even man count, this is looking like it could be Aqualix's best chance of taking another round back. Oh, yeah, it's good enough. There's a minute 15 for One Shot to play with, though. That is a substantial amount of time in a 3v3. Now, unfortunately for Kilo, he can't really take the risk of vaulting through this window because of the open hole, but they will end up taking through Ivy, shooting that jammer, and thus the wall will be opened. It's now largely going to be up to England to try and stop this push through. He's got 2 gas canisters to his name and a shotgun behind the half wall. And at this range, the shotgun will do wonders. But Kilo, he nabs a kill on a Rethink, and he gets that one-man advantage that One Shot are looking for. Afer has to try and hold the long angle and protect England in this position, but he's not going to be holding the balcony anymore. This could just be an office run-in to kill England, and it will be. No, England actually gets the gas kill onto Kilo. And what just happened? Aqualix hold on the poorly timed 1-2 punch. They allow Afer back for the head holes. Kilo, the low HP player, rushes through the gas, and Aqualix take their second round.
Wasn't England blind for like
Yes,
a full
pretty sure he
second and a
was.
half at least? Wow.
I'm pretty
Being
sure
able to
that was
pull
he
that out
probably
is
called to
impressive.
Afer, "Hey, I'm full white. I'm just gonna smoke." Like, I guarantee England probably thought he was dead there.
Gets a kill with the smoke while blind. When he can see again, he whips around with a shotgun, bodies someone else, and where was one shot there? That was a bit odd. A complete 180 and how that turned around. But as we can see by our scoreboard here, those are actually England's first two kills. I guess that's a good
Uh,
a time as any to get some kills because your team needed it desperately because you're on match point. You still have, of course, 4 rounds to go, but that's 1 round, and now maybe the rest will follow naturally. Maybe the momentum can be back on their side. At least they'll change up the bomb site. That's something they're going to be forced to do now. So we're not going to see Master and Office for a third time. We're going to head downstairs to Kitchen and Dining, but of course that does mean Master and Office do play a big role.
10 seconds to go.
we'll see if that 1 round is enough to start a streak for Aqualix, because they are going to need 4 more rounds in a row, which is a tall task for any team. Is dining going to be the site? Well, they will hold upstairs, as you often do on a dining hold, pushed very far forward towards bunk instead of just kind of holding back towards the master and like solar side of things. You typically just have someone sitting up there like with a 1.5 or something, holding long angles. Usually it's like an Aruni DMR, maybe even a castle or whatever, but they'll end up pushing all the way forward. They've also got Gasher tucked in the library corner. As soon as they spot him out, he's probably going to die. This is a really easy clear for the attackers if they know what they're doing. And as he opened the hatch, does he know that the lion is right beneath him? Well, it doesn't matter. He tries to swing sandwich, exposes himself to the double window. Easy kill for Storms, who nearly follows it up with a wallbang onto CZ. CZ will end up just dying to the man on the balcony.
One shot increasing their web of control on this site, but Afer has something to say about it. He'll line up the head of Slippery. Storms is quick to respond, however, as Afer will be sent to his grave as well, leaving Rethinkin and England to claw this one back. Rethinkin hits the floor as a great shot from Quartz will land, but England is still in this fight. He'll come sprinting through the map with a shotgun, but that is simply not going to cut it in that long-range fight. And one shot will clean things up very decisively. Our quickest game so far today, 7-2 here on Chalet. Aqualix didn't seem like they ever stood a chance.
No, they did not. I'm not gonna mince words here. That was disappointing. And I know,